Lakers trade talks are really starting to pick up as multiple new reports have dropped, revealing some very interesting details surrounding Rob Pelinka's trade plans. We're going to break down those reports and discuss what this means going forward as new targets have been revealed that have Lakers fans fired up. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. But before we get into it, if you're a part of that 83% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. So if you're a part of that percentage, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And thank you guys once again for your continued support on the channel as we're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Also, of course, the LA fires are going on. So if you live in the LA area, make sure to stay safe. My best wishes are with you. And if you aren't in the LA area, keep everybody in LA in your prayers. The game tomorrow has been postponed. So we'll keep you up to date with that. But again, everyone stay safe out there if you're in the LA area. And if not, you're in all of our prayers here. But let's dive into it. There's a lot of things to go over today, specifically surrounding Bruce Brown and some other trade rumors. And there's, Rob Pelinka. We know that trades are going to happen. We have some stuff on Robert Williams as well. But I want to start with this. Lakers insider names Kessler, Robert Williams, Bruce Brown as realistic trade targets. And we're going to dive into, we're going to have multiple videos, of course, on some of the other guys here. But today, the primary focus, at least, is going to be on Bruce Brown because rumors have really started to pick up over the past few days surrounding Bruce Brown. And obviously, Bruce Brown is a Raptor at this moment, and reports have come out recently from notable reporters revealing that the Raptors are trying to trade Bruce Brown and that it wouldn't cost a ton. But a Lakers insider, of course, names him as a realistic trade target. Then this rumor/report dropped from Chris Davis. Sources: the Toronto Raptors and LA Lakers have engaged in trade discussions centered around a potential deal sending Bruce Brown in exchange for Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and multiple second-round picks. The Lakers are looking to shed salary while adding Brown's championship experience for a boost in the short term. So there's a bunch of things to go over here. For one, we know that initially reports were starting to come out that the Lakers weren't interested necessarily in trading Rui Hachimura because, if you watch the games, he's obviously a crucial part of their offense. He's been in the starting lineup a lot. JJ Redick likes the way that Rui Hachimura plays. But the interesting part about this here is that if they do send him for Rui, you're obviously shedding some salary, and the Raptors get some second-round picks, and they can take on the salary at this point. They're not trying to compete. But they also get Bruce Brown. Now, this is an interesting one because on the surface, like Rui Hachimura is probably a better offensive player, definitely is, than Bruce Brown. But Bruce Brown gives you that role player, mentality. He'll come in, he'll play really good defense. He won the championship with, a few years ago with the Denver Nuggets. So it becomes now extremely interesting. And as you look at some things here, there's a bunch of different trades to go over. You can see this in the second part. Brown is probably the guy they need the least of those three targets. He is very versatile on the defensive end, but he hasn't done much offensively since being sent to Toronto. Brown averages just 5.8 points per game this year because he's played in just 4 games. If LA could somehow get Kessler, that would be a massive win. So obviously the article is talking about 3 different targets. Robert Williams is someone they could bring off the bench. He's really good, also injury plagued. And Bruce Brown has definitely played with injuries. But he's healthy now, and he hasn't really found his footing with the Toronto Raptors yet. Obviously, 5.8 points a game. We'll get into all their stats in a little bit here. But Bruce Brown is a guy. He is a winner. He is a championship winner, and he's really good defensively. He is a 3-and-D wing who can also create off the ball, on the ball, and off the ball a little bit as well. In his prime there a few years ago with the Nuggets and, of course, with the Pacers in this first year before getting shipped off to the Raptors in the Siakam trade, he was averaging over 10 points a game, really solid from 3, and really good defensively. So it becomes very interesting. And we'll dive, like I just hinted at there, into some of the trades. And you look at Bruce Brown's stats, though. 5 points a game and not doing much else. Now, when you think back to his time in Denver in 2022, 10.8 points when they won the championship, 4 rebounds a game. Like, he was very solid, shooting 32% from 3, which isn't great. And he had a really good shooting season the year before, shooting 40%. So he hasn't been the same shooter since getting traded from the Denver Nuggets. And Indiana, he wasn't great either shooting-wise, but he was a lot more of a scorer there because the Pacers don't have as much offensive talent as, of course, the Nuggets did. It now becomes very interesting to see how Bruce Brown would fit with the Los Angeles Lakers. And you'd be shedding salary. You'd be getting a guy that has a championship, mentality. And that's the biggest thing there as well. And you would also be getting some short-term help in theory. Now, let me know down below, would you prefer Bruce Brown or would you prefer Rui Hachimura? Rui Hachimura this season is averaging 11 points, 5 boards. Like, he's been very quietly good this year. He's shooting 41% from 3. Like, looking at just the stats, Rui Hachimura is absolutely the better player, and he's younger. But when you're looking at the salary that they're making, things then become interesting. I don't think this is a deal the Lakers should necessarily do. Rui Hachimura has started every single game for the Lakers this year, and he is, playing very well. Now, we saw last year, he's been, he circulated between starting and not starting. Under JJ Redick system, he started every single game. So it now becomes the question of, okay, will they be willing to give up a starter for Bruce Brown? I think the only way they do that is if they have another fish ready, a bigger fish to fry here, in the sense of you get You trade away Bruce Brown, or sorry, you trade for Bruce Brown, you shed some salary, you get rid of Rui Hachimura's salary along with Gabe Vincent, and then you bring in a bigger player. Now, whether that's Jimmy Butler, whether that's, whoever else you want to think about bringing in who has more salary, then maybe it makes some sense. But in a nutshell, I'm not quite sure. Here are some trades that have dropped recently. Bruce Brown for Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jalen Hood-Schifino. So this one doesn't involve Rui Hachimura. And I think a trade not involving Rui would make a lot more sense. This deal will be a short-term boost for the Lakers as they remove the poorly performing Gabe Vincent and the perennially injured Jared Vanderbilt, who is on his way back. Vanderbilt is yet to play this season, while Vincent's averaging 4.3 points. So you'd be shedding salary because Bruce Brown's obviously a free agent after this year. And it becomes interesting, Nim, because as you start to look at, how many points, obviously, Gabe Vincent hasn't been playing well at all. You think about Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt is on his way back from injury. He's going to be playing soon. And maybe even the next game, given the fires and things like that. And again, shedding salary doesn't make a difference for this trade deadline because obviously you have to match salaries in the NBA. But as you start to think about in the offseason, if they want to make a bigger splash in the offseason, then sure. Or if they trade Rui Hachimura, like I mentioned, to shed a salary, that opens up his starting rotation spot to make some of those bigger moves. So that is kind of the biggest thing here to think about. Would you do this trade? Let me know down below. The alternative one is Bruce Brown for Rui, Christian Wood, and Jalen Hood-Schifino. And this one's interesting. This deal has a more impactful effect on the Lakers season. Losing season-long starter Rui Hachimura, he's averaging, whatever. Removing him from the rotation could upset the Lakers' flow greatly, but the franchise has a potentially superior option on the bench with Dorian Finney-Smith. And that's the biggest thing. Yes, Rui Hachimura has started every game. You have Dorian Finney-Smith who can slide into that starting spot and that starting role. And if they think they want to do that going forward, then you'd obviously, in theory, slide either Rui Hachimura or Max Christie, different positions obviously, but slide one of them to the bench. And if that's the case, then again, this trade makes a bit more sense. You're either going to have to give up some, draft capital either way here, but removing Rui Hachimura is more polarizing because he started every game. You do have Dorian Finney-Smith off the bench, and Lakers fans are clamoring. We're all clamoring for JJ Redick to put Dorian Finney-Smith in the lineup. That gives you the best chance to win every single night. And then you have Bruce Brown off the bench. You clear some salary heading into next season, opens you up to some more options in free agency. So it's very intriguing to me, and I'm very curious to see which deal is better for the Lakers. These two variations should be enough to entice the Raptors, as it gives them enough future movement space for a player who's out of the rotation. Brown will be the perfect guard option next to Austin Reaves. The only thing Gabe Vincent is providing is not too much, and Vanderbilt should be the ideal package for the Lakers. I think they want to see how Jared Vanderbilt plays, and when we think about how good he was, over the past couple of years as a point of attack defender, a very good isolation defender, one of the best in the NBA. So if he can come back and continue to do that, maybe Jared Vanderbilt's going to be their version of Bruce Brown, so they won't even need to make a deal like this, and they'd rather focus on a center like Walker Kessler. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. A lot of rumors, a lot of reports are starting to circulate, starting to escalate and percolate, so we'll keep you up to date with all the latest news. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.